Welcome to the Basketball Fiends Podcast, a proud member of the Argentina Podcast Network. I'm one of your hosts, Jesus Acevedo Jr. My co-host is Alex Aguilera, coming all the way from the north side of Chicago. How goes it, Alex?
It's going good, man. Work is work, I guess. I don't know. It's just the same old now once you get in the routine.
There you go. And now this week we have our last special episode of the month and arguably the most fun. But before we get to the topic, I want to introduce our guest. First up is a fellow Houstonian, Michael Carrell. Michael is the production director at Gavin Media for ESPN 97.5, co-host of the Comic-Cast podcast, and podcast editor for Game History Hour. Welcome to the Basketball Fiends, Michael.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. It's excited to be here.
And finally, coming all the way from Chicago is Gavin Good. Gavin is a freelance journalist writing for the Champaign News Gazette, the Times of Northwest Indiana, and more recently, the Associated Press. Gavin, what's good?
It's all good, man. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on, Gavin.
There you go, man. Well, your name is good. You just always have to be good, right?
Right. I mean, yeah, no, there's no cycling of human emotions. It's just great all the time.
I love
Always,
it.
Man. Always.
I love it. And now for today's episode, we're going the Hollywood route as we're discussing our favorite basketball movies. Now, we each picked our favorite basketball movie, although some of us, like yours truly, chose our second favorite since our favorite was already picked. But to kick things off, we're turning it to Gavin for his favorite basketball movie. Take it away, Gavin.
Hey, yeah, I had to go with a classic from my childhood that has really stood the test of time. And for me, that is Like Mike, that 2002 hit. At least it was a hit to me. I think it was pretty popular at the time. So I believe 4 or 5 years old when it came out. But I remember seeing that movie for the first time because it really kind of blew my mind and kind of inspired my own hoop dreams.
Nice. Now, I'll be honest. I've watched most every basketball movie. For some reason, I never got around to watching Like Mike. But all I know about it, yes, for some reason. But I know that it features so many NBA players. It's like, well, at that time, there were NBA stars. Right now, most of them are retired. I don't think there's one player in that movie that's still playing. That'd be pretty. That'd be pretty historic.
It was like Dirk Nowitzki. It was like Jason Kidd, Tracy McGrady, like Vince Carter. Like none of these dudes play no more.
Yeah. One of my favorite scenes actually is just a little dinky scene where he throws Calvin, Lil Bow Wow, throws the ball off of Jason Kidd's back on the inbounds pass, and then gets the ball. I forget if he either does like a fancy layup or he dishes it to somebody else on the team and they score a fancy layup. But it's got so many fun moments like that. And in that Space Jam way, there's all these cameos that were really, I don't even know if I really appreciated those as much as probably other people who, weren't little kids did. Because I was watching a few scenes earlier from it and, I was just smiling. Like Allen Iverson's in it as well. Some of the players that, Alex pretty much named all of them. But like there was just so many big, huge NBA stars in that. And it's just, you don't see that anymore.
Yeah, I like that. I did one of the clips I did see while I was researching the movie was when, Calvin talks to Allen Iverson and AI's like, "Are you the mascot?" Like,
Right.
But one thing I did appreciate was that the name of the team is called the Los Angeles Knights, kind of a play, I guess, on the Los Angeles Clippers, right? Like,
Yeah, it is good stuff. And they also, I think they steal the Lakers triangle offense in that movie as well, which is interesting.
That's true, they do.
Yeah.
I remember that scene. Yeah, he's explaining to him like the whole triangle offense with the whiteboard and all that in his house.
Now, one thing that I was also learning while I was researching is that Little Bow Wow wants to make a Like Mike sequel. Now, granted, there is a Like Mike sequel, but I guess not a sequel with.
We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that, right? Exactly. We don't talk about that. But he's making a Like Mike sequel, and apparently rumors, well, based on some people's Twitter conversation that he was having, is that it could go the WNBA route because it could feature Little Bow Wow's daughter. So that'd be actually pretty cool.
That would be awesome. The world needs that, I think, because we definitely did not need that sequel that they did make.
Oh my god, yeah.
It was not great. But like Mike had, and in addition to the All-Star NBA cast, that whole movie had a really cool cast. Like, I don't know if you guys watched like The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody growing up, but Brenda Song was in it.
Holy crap! I forgot that's her.
Yeah. That blew my mind because she's so young in it. And they got the kid from Stuart Little. I have no idea what that guy's name is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He is Stuart Little, right? I know.
Yeah. And another one that threw me, man, I can't remember this guy's this actor's name is like James Playmon or something, but he's in Breaking Bad, and he's he's like the bad guy, and in this movie he's the bully who I think he steals the shoes from him or like steals his shoes or something and throws them up on the telephone wire. But it's so funny because he was so young in this movie and he still plays all the same roles. Like now,
Loki, yeah.
Still a jerk in everything he does. He's very, very good at that. So they were onto that guy early.
Yeah, that was, I didn't know that he had started acting so young, because I was looking at other people that were in it. His name did pop out. So yeah. So like Mike, huh? That's I'm gonna have to add that to my to watch list, and I can just go back and kind of reminisce of all those players that I grew up seeing. Because you were 5, I think I was maybe 21 and 2002. You said no, I was 19. Wow, yeah. See. So I am the veteran of this here chat.
Yeah, this is where we expose like the age difference between everybody here.
Yeah, definitely. Well, like Mike. Well, now speaking of like Mike, we're gonna throw it to Mike for his favorite basketball movie. Let us just hit us with it, Mike. What is it?
It is White Man Can't Jump, which is the story of my life. I really appreciate that. Not just because of the title, obviously, but I think it was one of the first basketball movies that I watched when I was younger. Obviously, I probably shouldn't have, because I think that movie's rated R, but hey, what are you going to do? But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just always, growing up, I played pickup basketball, obviously, and that movie is all about hustling and the pickup game and everything. And I don't know. I always loved basketball growing up. And so I just attached myself to that movie so much and related so much to trying to dunk all the time and struggling to get to that point all the time. Like the scene where Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes, they're having that argument, and they're having at night, and he's making Billy jump up to get the quarter or whatever off the backboard and trying to dunk and all that stuff. And it's like, man, I related to that so hard, just because I remember trying to do that on my own goal and like getting so close. And then of course, like a knee injury happened. And it's like, well, that's not going to happen at all. But like just the movie, I don't know. I just always loved that movie. It's funny. Obviously got great actors in it. Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson going back and forth. It's funny. It has its dramatic moments. It has the whole angle with Rosie Perez trying to be on Jeopardy of all things, which was cool and funny. And obviously Rosie Perez, awesome actress. So I don't know. I always have attached myself to that movie.
And I mean, she's the reason why it was rated R. It's Rosie Perez.
Gotta blame Rosie.
Gotta blame Rosie. Now, I will say, this is my favorite movie. So when Mike picked it, I was mad, but I was glad somebody picked it too. So and I would say this is the quintessential basketball movie for any street hooper. For anybody that just plays so much basketball, this is that movie. And to me, one of the parts I love is that in the very beginning, you see this goofy white man played by Woody Harrelson, who has no business on the court based on the clothes he has, right? He's doing all these stretching exercises, and they're all just laughing at him, And I relate to that because, we've all played street ball, and we've all seen players of that caliber where you look at him and you're like, come on, this guy's not a hooper. And then he'd be on the court, and he's just schooling everybody. And I'll say that I have been put in that position where people look at me, yes, I'm tall, but I look all, lanky, and they're like, oh, this guy can't hoop, and I'll go there and I'll school him. Now, on the flip side, I've seen people show up to court decked out in basketball gear. I'm talking about the sleeves, the shoes, the knee pads, just decked out, and they're the worst player on the court. So,
it's the best. Go. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say don't judge a basketball player by how they look. But yeah, go ahead, Mike.
I was just gonna say it's the best when they look like they're the sixth or eighth man on the bench when they got the full uniform, got the shorts and everything, man. But I was just gonna say I relate to that so much too because I remember just like in middle school and everything, gangly white guy, like I wasn't necessarily gonna necessarily do some of the things that Billy was doing. I was more on the defensive end, just doing that type of stuff, and that's what kind of made my like I guess defined me. And so I related to the fact of, I was picked last in certain instances and just being that gangly white kid, like, yeah, you get him.
Alex, Gavin, what do you guys have to say about White Man Can't Jump?
Man,
Well, Gavin, go ahead. You guess. Go ahead.
man, I haven't even seen White Man Can't Jump.
Oh my God, I'm about to kick you off this
Yeah, you haven't
podcast,
seen White
Gavin.
Man Can't Jump?
When y'all said that, Jesus, when you said that was your favorite too, I was like, oh man, they're gonna fry me. They're gonna fry me.
Well, you got homework, all right? This week, you need to watch White Man Can't Jump, and then you're gonna tell me, be like, "Hey, can we do the podcast over? Because I want to talk about White Man Can't Jump."
But damn, what was I gonna say about White Man Can't Jump, bro? The scene where, oh my God, this dude's big on Twitter now. It's just like dad.
Yes, I know what I'm talking about.
Right, where they hustle dude, and he's like, you know what? Forget y'all. He's like, I'm gonna go to my car and get my gun and shoot everybody. And everyone's just kind of looking at him, like is he being for real? Like no one's sure. And then I think it was like Wesley Snipes' character. He just like took off. He didn't even like think twice. He just takes off running. Oh my God, that movie's like so freaking hilarious. And then I thought we were going to Sizzler.
Now here's a fun fact about that. I think the guy's name is Marquise Johnson, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. He played with the Bucks, and he was at the Bucks parade because he played with the Bucks most of his NBA career. But that's based on a true story. Fun fact: the actual writer and director Ron Shelton, who also wrote Blue Chips, another basketball film, he went to a court. I think it was in Crenshaw or Venice or some court out in LA, and it was chained off. And he's like, "Man, what's going on? Like, I'm here to play basketball." And it's like, "Oh, somebody went to go." To his dashboard, and I guess that was like the I guess you could say language that this guy went to go get his gun. So he based that part of the film on something that actually happened to him. But man, this movie put a lot of these actors on the map. Wesley Snipes, he still hadn't done New Jack City or any of these other movies. Like before he got casted, those movies were already in post production. So he was in the Wesley Snipes we know now. Same thing for Woody Harrelson. Same thing for Rosie Perez. She had only been on the Spike Lee movie. I'm blacking out on the name now, but yeah, this movie I think is quintessential for any basketball player to watch. And there's so many memorable scenes. Like you said, going to Sizzlers. And I actually do remember that part when Billy's trying to dunk, and you want him to dunk, and you feel like he's going to, and then we for
he
sure
can literally do everything but dunk. One thing.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's a quintessential movie, and Gavin, you have to watch it. I'm gonna hit you up on Twitter next week and be like, you better watch this movie, Gavin. But speaking of Spike Lee, we're gonna throw it to Alex for his favorite basketball movie. Let us know, Alex.
All right, so technically I think it's like my second. I don't know why I didn't pick Space Jam, but like he got games like right there with Space Jam. But no, I mean, like I remember I watched He Got Game, I think sophomore year of high school was the first time I was exposed to it. I watched like the second half of the movie, and then I was like, oh shit, like I need to watch the full movie. Because I flipped out when I saw Ray Allen as Jesus. I was like, Ray Allen was in a movie? I was like, with Denzel? And then I seen the movie, and I'm like, Rosario Dawson's in it? And I'm like, holy crap, like why are all these people in this movie that like I had never heard of? But man, I think at that time I was just like convinced I was gonna go to the league, and I was like, holy crap, it just exposed like so much with what goes on, like as a highly touted prospect, like all these people coming at you thinking like, oh, like, we're cool, right? So you're gonna send me some cash, right? And just, I don't know, just like even just like the capitalism side to it. But I think just like at its core, as a basketball movie, like literally just to tell itself, he got game. When it comes down to Jesus and his dad playing, it's like, yo, who got game? Like, who wants it more? At the end of the day. So yeah, I mean, just sort of, I don't know, like a deep movie at times. It could be funny, just kind of laid back. Denzel, man, he killed it in that movie. And
He's Denzel.
I find, yeah, it's Denzel, and I find it so bizarre how, like, at the time it wasn't like reviewed very well. It wasn't like, highly touted, but it was one of those that became kind of like a cult classic, kind of like aged like fine wine. And now we just sort of look back on that movie and we say, wow, just like, how it even still relates to this day.
Yeah, He Got Game came out in 1998, and at that time I was a freshman in high school with my dreams of being in the NBA still there, where I still had that hope. Clearly that didn't happen, or else I would never have met any of you guys. But no, what I found interesting in my research of the movie was that Kobe Bryant was originally going to play Jesus Shuttleworth, but
That's right.
due to his air balls
Yep.
in the playoff loss to the Jazz, he decided to focus on his offseason training. So if it wasn't for those 4 air balls he shot in that game, we could have had Kobe as Jesus Shuttleworth. And the other person, another notable name who could have played Jesus was Tracy McGrady, but Spike found him too reserved. Which it's weird because I think of Ray Allen as more reserved than Tracy McGrady.
That's true, yeah.
Right? It's odd, but no, I think you hit it on the head, Alex. I think when I saw He Got Game, I was like, wow, this is a very gritty movie showing you kind of like the dark secrets of the NBA, but not just the NBA, more so the economic aspect, but of not just the NBA, but also about college basketball and about recruiting and all the
Right.
stuff that happens that we don't see as fans, which is also interesting too, is that another fun fact was that Spike Lee based Jesus Shuttleworth on another player from Coney Island, Stephen Marbury, who was from Coney
It's
Island.
Stephon Marbury.
Stephon Marbury. My apologies, Stephon Marbury.
bro.
Stephon, please come on the show and talk trash to me. You have an open invitation, Stephon Marbury. Hey, I had your shoes growing up, Stephon. But no, I one of my favorite parts is I love the card ride where his friend is kind of warning him, hey, you're about to get up. All these people, you have to worry about the H, the I, and the V from all these, all these ladies and all these people,
Yep.
hitting you up for money. So it definitely showed us something for at least for me at 14 years of age. I was like, oh my God, there's so much more than just playing, college basketball or in the NBA.
Now, this movie, and I was too young to remember like the reception, but in my research, it was interesting finding that a lot of people didn't seem to like this when it came out.
Yeah. Yep. That's true. It was one of those that became a cult classic. Like afterwards, like people like rewatched it again, and then it was like, oh shit, maybe it wasn't as bad as I remember. It's weird.
Which is kind of surprising, right? Because it has Denzel and Spike Lee, which are, it's Denzel, right? And it's Spike Lee, so it's kind of weird, like how bad it was received.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to think at the time. Well, I mean, 98. I was born in 98, but like even just, but like even just watching it like first time, I was like, holy crap! Like I watched it like just half the movie, and I was like, oh wow, I need to watch it, from the beginning. Like I gotta get the whole, story. But yeah, I'm trying to think like what people's mindsets were, at the time where they kind of watched it and were like, this ain't even really all that, and it's like, really, like this movie slaps, man.
Also, some people just don't really like Spike Lee, and I don't get that, but
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike. You were gonna say something? Yeah.
I was just gonna say it's definitely one of the first movies that I can remember where it was, growing up, you think it's glitz and glam in terms of all that, like the recruiting and all that, but it's one of the first movies that I can remember where it's like, no, it's not as glamorous as you think. There's some shady people that are get involved. There's this whole process can be really grimy at the end of the day, and it's one of the movies, at least I think for basketball heads, it's definitely one of the movies that just had always stuck out to me.
And of course, since I share the name with the main character, whenever I showed up to the court, people were like, there's Jesus. Which, hey, I did not mind one bit. But yeah, so
Jesus, were you named after Earl the Pearl Monroe?
Well, maybe my dad was, and then I was named after my dad. So,
Okay. Okay, sure. He's like that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
that's my story. I'm thinking with it. But yeah, but he got game is definitely one. Like you said, I think it definitely became a cult classic, and now everybody you talk to, they just rave about he got game. So, but yeah. And now with that, we're gonna go on to the last movie, which is my pick. I would have picked White Man Can't Jump, but Michael picked it, which is all good because we got to talk to her. But my second favorite movie is Coach Carter. And there's so many reasons why I love Coach Carter. Coach Carter, while other previous films have all been fiction, Coach Carter is based on a true story, and it's my favorite because I love that true aspect of it. Just a little bit of background. Coach Carter, whose real name was Ken Carter, he made headlines in 1999 for suspending his undefeated high school basketball team, the Richmond Oilers of Richmond, California, due to their poor academic results. And this caught the attention of a film producer as well as, many of the media. And now here's what's funny. When that film producer reached out to Carter hung up on him twice because he thought his friends were playing a joke on him. And on the third time, the film producer's like, if you hang up one more time, I'm never contacting you again. So at this point, Ken, he's like, all right. So as he's talking this conversation with the film producer, he's looking up the film producer. He's Googling the film producer because, Google was a thing back then. So he's Googling the film producer, like, okay, he did this, he did that. And from there, that's how the story came out. And then while researching about this film, it turns out, and this is a quote from Ken Carter, he said 98.5% of the film is true. And that's because he was on set every day of the shooting of the film. So he made sure that all the fine details were there. And in the movie, he has the players sign a contract. He still had those contracts to show the film producers and all that stuff. He still had notes from that season. So it had such a true aspect of what went on in the 1999 season. And I mean, there's more that I could say, but I'll let you guys talk before I'll jump back in on Coach Carter.
That movie gave us one of those great quotes. It's like one of the, when you Google it, it's like the first movie. It's like one of the legendary movie quotes when he says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. You know how many classrooms I have seen that in? Growing up, a lot.
Here's what's interesting. Another fun fact is that was a poem by Marianne Williamson. That's her poem called Our Deepest Fear. Here's another fun fact. She ran for the Democratic presidential nomination in our last election. So it's crazy. But that's her poem, actually. So what Coach Carter, right, that's where, look it up. But Coach Carter, what they did is they took that poem and it's pretty much word by word, except for I think they took out 4 sentences. But I think Coach Carter made it more famous than even Marianne made it famous. Because when I first heard it was through Coach Carter, and for the rest of my life, I was like, this is Coach Carter. Like, wow, this is such a genius that it is. Of course, years later, I found out that it was a poem from Marianne. But no, that I still get chills just thinking about the scene. Like I saw that scene earlier, and I still got goosebumps. Especially that scene where Cruz is like, "Sir, you saved my life," and I just want to say thank you, man. I just nearly started breaking crying, because of the impact of that scene at that moment in the film.
There's something too about the coach that cares way more about their players as people than athletes, and I think that that's a lot of coaches, but they do a really good job with this, and the fact that it's based on a real guy too, it just gives the movie an extra feel of real authenticity. And I think that makes it more relatable for a lot of people as well.
Yeah, I didn't realize about the guy. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Alex.
No. Go, Mike. Go. You're good.
I was just going to say, I didn't realize the guy was actually on set for a majority of that time. And so, you saying that makes so much sense now, because having him there day in and day out, 98% of the time, I think that really came through, because that is to me, that's one of the top tier true story, based on a true story type movies, because it really felt authentic. It really felt like Sam Jackson was Coach Carter in that moment. And I mean, who else could play that but Sam Jackson? I mean, he's such a perfect choice for that. And I feel like was Channing Tatum in that
yes
too?
Yes, he
Yep.
was.
Yeah, he was.
I forgot about him being in that. So I think that was one of the first times that I can remember seeing him.
I think
Likewise.
that was like one of his first movies.
I
Then
think so.
Step Up. No, Step Up made him big, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
That was the movie. I love Step Up.
I've
But
never
anyway, we're
seen
talking about
Step Up
basketball
either.
Really?
Step Up, no.
Okay, first White Man Can Jump and then Step Up, all right?
All right. That's a lot of homework, man. I might have to go 1 for 2.
Okay, forget Step Up and just watch White Man Can Jump back to back. Trust me.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You know what?
Alex, go
That's
ahead
true.
on Coach Carter. You were gonna say something.
Yeah, no, and it was funny. I remember the first time when I watched Coach Carter, like I really enjoyed the movie, and I was like, man, like there's no way, like you know, you see based on a true story, and like there's so many movies out there where it's like, oh, based on a true story, but you know, the accuracy of it is kind of up in the air. And now that you mentioned like how the actual coach was there on set, you know, pretty much saying, hey, like this is what happened. Like I thought the whole contracts thing, like in the movie, I was like, yo, like there's no way that actually happened. There's no way this dude made a bunch of high school kids like sign a contract. Like I was in high school, I'd be pissed if my coach made me sign a contract. Because I mean, I did decent in class. Like I did my homework, and I was just like, dude, I'd be pissed. Like, come on, you're not gonna trust me to do my homework. Like, I'm not gonna sign this damn contract. But you know, just to hear that was an actual thing, it's like, wow, man, you know, you really see. I don't know. It's definitely one of those feel good stories where it's like, man, here's you know, a coach, you know, a person that really cares about these kids, not just for their athletic ability to, you know, win trophies and all that. It's like, no, he genuinely wants them to, you know, become, you know, good men, you know, in the future. And that's, you know, something I guess we don't always, you know, get to see in the world, but it was nice to, you know, see it on the big screen and, you know, and for it to actually be real. It wasn't like, you know, we cut a couple corners here just to, you know, bump up the feel goodness of the movie. But it's like, no, that's pretty much what happened.
Here's another fun fact. Well, two back to back. While they were making the film, some of the producers and even I think the screenwriter, they wanted the team to win the championship, and Ken Carter was like, "No, that's not what happened." You know, yes, that would have been great, obviously, but that's not what happened. So he kind of fought for them to lose where they lost, and you know, once they gave him the second script, the you know, it had that ending, and he said, "This is how it should end because this was life," and you know. How many movies we've seen where like it's this underdog team, they beat the number one team, and yes, it's great, it feels good, but when it's based on a true story, you want the actual facts, the actual true story. So I love that they kept that original ending. Second fun fact was Ty Crane, as I'm sure many of you know, he was based on Tyson Chandler. I don't know if you guys knew, but yeah, he was based on Tyson Chandler.
Oh, all right, that makes sense now.
Now, his game isn't like Ty Crane, you know, but Ty Crane's character was based on Tyson Chandler because I think Tyson Chandler did play against Richmond Oilers in that game, so that's what he was. So
wow, didn't know.
I think that's a great point that you made, just about how sticking to reality makes a movie so much better than going with your cliche like they win it all ending. Like it's so played out that you gain a lot more from sticking to the real story than the trope.
Yeah.
But like real life, you lose like 100%. You got to lose, and if you don't showcase that, it's not all feel good stories in throughout. Especially in sports, you're not going to win the championship every time. You're not going to make that three to win the game or whatever. A lot of times you gotta lose to really learn, and I think that's one of the things that stands out about that movie.
And it's so crazy. Yeah, they said that Mike has sent this article about Coach Carter. He said that same thing. Ken Carter says something like based on that. He said, sometimes we learn more when we lose than when we actually win, and that was one of the reasons why he wanted to keep that ending of them losing in that first round, or whatever round it was. One, because it was true, but two, because it made them better as a team and better as human beings. Because they experienced that together and they learned from it too. So. Yeah,
definitely.
Oh my God, man! I want to run through a brick wall right now, man. So much damn positivity from Coach Carter. Jesus.
Right. Yeah, so but that's that was Coach Carter. I think I'm gonna have to watch that this week. I think that's a movie that I own. I think besides White Man Can't Jump, Coach Carter is probably the second basketball movie I've seen more than I can count. Like, something else that I loved about it was that Coach Carter, he was there when they were training some of these actors to play basketball, because some of them were just athletes, right? But you still gotta kind of fake it. And he said, no, we were actually scrimmaging out there. Like, see, these players were playing, and if they missed a shot in practice, that he made them do 100 push-ups. So he was like, he couldn't take that coach cap off. So that's what Channing Tatum for Step Up. That's what Channing Tatum looked like he did because of Coach Carter.
All right.
He got Coach Carter.
Pretty much. But man, what threw me off in that movie was like when Cruz, like, he made him do like that insane like workout in a week where it was like 1,000 like sit-ups, like 1,000 push-ups, like 1,000 suicides in a week. I was like, bro, that sounds insane. That doesn't even sound real.
That's Rocky.
Right. I'm like, all right, if there's one thing that's BS about this movie, I was like, it has to be that. I was like, I don't care how fit you are. That doesn't sound right.
I now, after having read that article, I believe that something like that happened, because if he made the actors do 100 push-ups, if they missed a shot in practice, I can definitely see him telling Cruz, "You can do this, fucking,
Bro, ain't no way that man did 1,000 suicides in a week. That's just...
Well, I mean, actually, he didn't do it. He had help, but he got what? He got pretty close. He got close before the rest of the team.
Close, but still, man, I remember when they made us do the damn pacer test, man. I was dying at the end of that.
Oh yeah.
I was mad that I never got to do a pacer test. I think when I was in high school.
You were mad?
Yeah, because I like.
You did not need to
see, people are crazy. Well, they look crazy at me because I tell them that I like suicides because you have to push yourselves, right? So I like suicides, and I like pushing myself to the limit. When I was playing basketball on this local park team, we had this hill, so we had to do suicides on the hill, run down to the hill and come up like as many times as you could, and then shoot free throws. So I don't know. I kind of like that because I like pushing myself to the limit. Obviously, I probably passed out once or twice, but it was fun,
You would do well in Coach Carter's system.
I would love to play Coach Carter.
I would not make it in that system. I'll be honest.
You're more of a like Mike, right? You're more of playing
more of like let me put on these magic shoes right quick.
He's like, all right, I'm ready to go, Coach. Put me in, I'm ready.
Come in, Coach. Bringing it back full circle to like Mike, so we can finish this episode. If they do it on the WNBA, if they do another like Mike on the WNBA, in the WNBA, who's the player you think that they should pick?
Candace Parker.
That was okay. Gonna be mine too, honestly. Yeah, Candace Parker's up there.
Yeah. I could see that.
The GOAT.
Yeah. Candace would be good. What's Asia Wilson?
She would be good too. She
would be good
because she's a lot also younger, so you get a younger thing.
Yeah,
and I mean, obviously, Candace. I mean, Candace Parker, she could still be in, but I like the age because you won. I mean, well, I don't know. I mean, Michael Jordan was also retired, so at the time, so I don't know, maybe
true. So if you want to go older, I mean, Sue Bird, if she's still playing, Diana Taurasi,
right, yeah.
You could even have two best friends, and they could be like modeled after Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi.
Oh.
Shit.
Hollywood, give us a call, Hollywood.
Yeah, I gotta get working.
We got it. Lil Baba, hit me up. Hit me up, Lil Baba. We got this. Cool. Well, Mike, thank you so much for joining us. Gavin, thank you so much for taking time. Thank you to both of you guys. We'd love to have you guys on once we do our, more of the keep up to date onto the basketball season. We'd like to bring you guys on. We just, I think this was a very fun episode. I'd have to do much research as I typically do for some of our episodes. This was more of a fun research, right? And don't have to look at like field goal percentages and all these systems and whatever, right?
Absolutely. But the biggest thing I'm taking away is that I need to do some cultural self-educating about how white men can't jump.
Story of my life. So it's a good watch. You'll learn a lot.
Trust me, as somebody who's 6'5", and everybody always asks, "Can you dunk?" I just tell them, "White man can't jump." Like, so that's always been my go-to. Granted, I'm not white, I'm Mexican, but I look white, so I can still say that, right? So, but
He's like,
again,
it still applies.
it still applies. It still applies, you know. But Mike, thank you so much for coming on with us. Gavin, thank you so much for coming on with us. And faithful listeners, thank you so much for listening to the Basketball Fiends podcast. Come back next week and don't forget to subscribe. See ya.